All right, so you're always looking for that edge, that way to learn faster and smarter, right?
Right. Who isn't?
Exactly. Well, buckle up because today we're diving into NotebookLM, this brand new AI tool from Google that's got folks buzzing about how we research, how we podcast, even how we work together.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Totally.
Hmm.
So we've got excerpts from a document called NotebookLM.pdf.
That's our main source today.
Yep, that's our guide. And our mission, what we really want to figure out, is what IS NotebookLM, like what can it do for us? What are the good, the bad, and why is everyone making such a fuss about it?
And I think a good place to start is with what it actually is, because it's not like just another note-taking app, right?
Right.
It's way more than that.
So how would you explain it, like if we were just chatting, not on the show or anything?
I'd say it's like, imagine you've got all these documents, PDFs, Google Docs, whatever. NotebookLM turns them into this like brainstormer buddy.
Okay, that's kind of cool. It's not just storing the info, it's actually like getting it.
Totally, yeah. It's context aware, which is a fancy way of saying it. It understands what your stuff is about.
That's huge, right? Because if I'm researching, I don't just want to copy paste. I want to like process.
Exactly. So you can ask it questions, get summaries, even have it whip up content like a whole podcast script or like a spoken summary thing.
Well, wait, like it can talk.
Yeah, through this tech called Soundstorm, which is Google's text-to-speech thing, it's supposed to be super realistic.
Okay, so that's for the listeners. It wouldn't sound all robotic and weird.
No, it's supposed to sound really natural, which is a big deal for engagement, you know? People tune out if it's just monotone.
But absolutely. And this is what's blowing my mind. Think about podcasters, right? Like you can take a blog post, boom, NotebookLM turns it into a whole episode tailored to your listeners.
Yeah, or like picture this. You're researching for a podcast, tons of articles. NotebookLM could pull out all the key points, give you a script, even an audio summary. It's insane how much time that could save.
And I bet like there's this public URL thing, so sharing becomes super easy too.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. You could share an episode made from a blog post instantly, get it out to a way wider audience, super valuable for podcasters.
Huge GE. But it's
Same.
not just for us podcast folks, right? I mean, like students.
Students, businesses, anyone who deals with a lot of information. Think about it. Students could get personalized summaries of textbooks or have it explain like super complicated stuff in a way that's actually understandable.
Mind blown. And what about like businesses? What could they do?
Imagine analyzing market research data or keeping tabs on your competitors. This thing can chew through all that dry information and spit out actionable insights. That's got to be huge for making smarter decisions.
Okay, but there's got to be a but here, right?
Yeah.
What are the downsides?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you are uploading your documents to Google servers, so privacy is a big one. Now, they say they don't use that data for training their AI models, but it's still a concern, especially if you're working with like sensitive info.
Totally. And earlier you mentioned it works really well within Google Workspace. What about if I'm not a Google person?
Right. Right now, it's most seamless within that ecosystem. So if you're using other tools, it might not be as smooth.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's say I'm using it. I upload my research. Can I like really control what the AI spits out, like the tone, the style?
That's another area where there's room for improvement. You can guide it with questions and stuff, but you don't have total control over things like tone or pacing of an audio summary.
Okay, so to make sure I get this, NotebookLM, it's using MY Docs, right?
Yeah.
It's not like ChatGPT, which is pulling from like the entire internet.
Exactly. NotebookLM is grounded in the specific content you give it.
So relevance and accuracy are tied directly to MY input.
Precisely. If you upload, say, articles about the history of coffee, that's all it knows about. It won't start talking about the history of tea or something random. It's focused.
This is so cool. And maybe a little scary.
Right. It's definitely powerful stuff.
NotebookLM, wow. It could totally change how we work with info. But we got to be mindful of those limitations, right?
Yeah.
Especially privacy and like how much control we really have.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super exciting tech, but it raises some big questions. Like, how do we make sure it's used ethically, especially as it gets more advanced?
Ooh, that's a good one. And that's something for everyone to think about. What are the ethics of AI making content?
Especially when it comes to something like podcasting, where trust and authenticity are so important.
Really makes you think. All right, folks, that's our deep dive into NotebookLM, a powerful tool, but with some caveats to keep in mind. As always, thanks for joining us on the deep dive. Keep those brains curious.
And keep exploring. This is just the beginning.